Have you ever heard of Atlantis or Lemuria and pictured them as some kind of sci-fi utopia with flying ships and crystal technology suddenly wiped out by a massive tidal wave? It's a compelling image, but what if I told you the real story? The one hidden in plain sight is far more profound and personal. Today, we re-diving deep into Helena Blavatsky's The Secret Doctrine to uncover what these lost continents truly represent. It's not about finding sunken ruins, but about discovering a lost part of ourselves. One of the biggest misunderstandings about Theosophy is taking the stories of Atlantis and Lemuria literally. People imagine them as historical footnotes, geographical locations we could pinpoint on a map if we just had the right equipment. But Blavatsky herself warns us against this. She wrote, "The tales of submerged continents and lost civilizations are not fanciful inventions, but allegories of great natural and psychic events." Think about that for a moment. Allegories. This means these continents are symbols, representing vast stages in the Earth's life, and more importantly, in the evolution of human consciousness. Let's break it down. In this framework, Lemuria isn't just a landmass in the Pacific. It symbolizes a state of humanity that was pre-mental, almost purely instinctual. Consciousness was collective, a unified whole, like a flock of birds moving as one. There wasn't a strong sense of I versus you. It was a primal dreamlike state of being. Then comes Atlantis. Atlantis represents the next great leap, the birth and development of the individual mind, the ego. This is the age where I becomes central. With the ego comes incredible power, the power of will, of intellect, of building and creating. But it also brings a tremendous risk. The rise of the individual ego, if not balanced by wisdom and a connection to the whole, leads to separation, conflict, and imbalance. Blavatsky connects these two evolutions directly, stating, geological changes and racial transformations go hand in hand. The Earth's physical shifts mirror the deep, internal shifts happening within humanity. The story of the land is the story of our consciousness. So, if these continents aren't just physical places, where did their stories go? Where are the records of these ancient times? They aren't carved on stone tablets buried under the sea. They are living archives, woven into the very fabric of our world, hidden in our myths, our symbols, and our most sacred traditions. Blavatsky saw mythology as more than just quaint fairy tales. She called it the record of the childhood of mankind. But this record is not a simple history book. It's encrypted. It's veiled in universal images and stories that have been passed down for millennia. Think about the universal myths you see everywhere. The Great Flood, tales of giants roaming the earth, gods who descend from the heavens to teach humanity, and golden ages lost to time. These aren't just local folklore from a few isolated cultures. According to Theosophy, they are echoes, psychic and physical echoes of real, global, cyclical events. They are the fragmented memories of humanity's own evolutionary journey. When we hear the story of Noah or Manu in India or Deucalion in Greece, we aren't just hearing a story about a boat. We are hearing an echo of a major cyclical reset, a cleansing that happened on both a planetary and a conscious level. This brings us to a crucial point that goes against the popular disaster movie narrative. The Secret Doctrine doesn't teach that this ancient knowledge was completely obliterated. It was transformed. Blavatsky is clear on this. No great civilization has ever perished without leaving behind it some traces of its knowledge. After each great cycle, after each fall or cataclysm, the wisdom wasn't lost forever. It was preserved by a small group of initiates, the survivors who understood the deeper truths. But you can't just hand over a complex encyclopedia of cosmic knowledge to a humanity that's starting over. So this profound wisdom was condensed. It was simplified and encoded into forms that could survive, symbols, rituals, myths, and even numbers. This is the secret of tradition with a capital T. It's not transmitted like a textbook. It's transmitted like a seed. A seed contains the blueprint for the entire tree, but it's small, protected, and needs the right conditions to grow. This is why, when you look across ancient cultures, you find the same sacred numbers popping up again and again: 3, 4, 7, 12. You find similar creation stories or cosmologies. You find nearly identical structures in their initiatory rites, their mystery schools. Whether in ancient Egypt, India, Mesoamerica, or among the Celtic Druids, these common threads appear. They didn't all borrow from each other in a historical sense. They were all drawing from the same source, the same seed of primordial wisdom that was preserved and replanted after each great cycle. So how is it possible that cultures separated by thousands of miles and thousands of years could all tell such similar stories? Blavatsky was way ahead of her time, anticipating what psychologists like Carl Jung would later call the collective unconscious. She wrote, "The collective memory of mankind preserves the impressions of events that took place in prehistoric times. These memories aren't stored in our everyday conscious mind. They are deeper, buried in the bedrock of our psyche. They surface not as historical facts, but as archetypes. They emerge in our myths, our religious figures, our art, and even our dreams. This is why the hero's journey is a universal story. It's why the serpent is a symbol of both wisdom and temptation across the globe. It's why the world tree connects heaven and earth in countless traditions. These stories are not copies of each other. Blavatsky would say they are reminiscences. They are dormant memories of the human soul, waking up and expressing themselves through the language of symbol and myth, unique to each culture but universal in their core meaning. They are echoes from the deep past of our own shared consciousness. And this leads us to the most profound and personal part of this entire teaching. Why do these stories resonate so deeply with us even today? Theosophy offers a powerful answer. The past is never dead. It lives within us. Lemuria and Atlantis aren't just historical curiosities. They are living realities within the human soul. They represent stages we all carry within us. The instinctual, unified consciousness of Lemuria is still part of our deep psyche. And the drama of Atlantis? That's the drama of our own time. Blavatsky was explicit about this. She wrote, "History repeats itself because the same causes produce the same effects. Every individual and every civilization that develops intelligence, power, and technology without an equal development of ethics, compassion, and spiritual awareness is, on its own scale, replaying the Atlantean drama." The fall of Atlantis wasn't about an earthquake or a flood. It was the result of a profound imbalance. It was the story of an intelligence that became arrogant, a will that served only the self, a power that forgot its connection to the sacred. Sound familiar? We are facing that same choice today, but on a global technological scale never seen before. So what do we do with this knowledge? The goal isn't to go looking for Atlantis with sonar equipment. The true purpose of these archaic doctrines is not historical or sensational. As Blavatsky reminds us, the true value of the archaic doctrines lies in their philosophical meaning, not in their literal interpretation. To read these stories from an initiatory perspective means to look within. It means understanding that Atlantis is an inner state of being, a potential for a fall that exists within each of us. It's recognizing that the fall of any civilization begins not with a bang, but with the slow, quiet desacralization of consciousness when we forget our connection to each other and to the spirit that animates all life. The memory of the world is also the memory of your soul. In the end, Lemuria and Atlantis are not lost worlds to be mourned. They are powerful, living symbols etched into the blueprint of human evolution. They are a map and a warning. They teach us that humanity learns and grows in great cycles. They show us that true knowledge is never destroyed, only veiled, waiting for us to be ready to understand it again. And most importantly, they place a fundamental choice squarely before us in this present moment. It is the timeless choice that every soul and every civilization must face. Will we serve intelligence without wisdom, pursuing power for its own sake? Or will we finally learn to unite our knowledge with consciousness, our power with purpose, and our mind with our heart? The Secret Doctrine doesn't just ask us to read about the past. It invites us to take up the initiatory responsibility of creating a wiser future right here, right now. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. If this resonated with you, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And be sure to subscribe for more explorations into the world's hidden wisdom. See you next time.